All right, before you head off to bed tonight, let's get you set up with the weather forecast. What are you going to expect into the overnight hours? Well, likely Mother Nature is going to get a bit cranky out there. Highest chances of severe storms, north central Oklahoma, south central Kansas. But as those storms approach us, while they are going to be weakening, they very well still could be packing a punch. Primarily damaging wind, some hail, heavy rain, but the tornado potential is not necessarily zero as much as I wish it was. Here's what we're tracking out there right now. Everyone in the 5 News viewing area, it's all nice and quiet. Got a little bit of a pre-show storm moving through northeast Oklahoma. This isn't the actual main system. It's still moving through back in across parts of north central Oklahoma. This, though, still severe. 60 to 70 mile per hour straight line winds coming out of that cell north of Tulsa. Tracking off towards the east. Most of that likely misses the area. Still could bring some heavy rain, some lightning, and it certainly could pulse up and become severe as well. Estimated timeline for that brings it into, let's say, western Benton County pretty close to midnight tonight, maybe a few minutes before there. It'll continue tracking off towards the east-southeast. Well, yeah, of course, we'll track this one closely in the short term. This is the big fella. This is the one that's going to move in overnight tonight. You can see those storms from the Kansas-Oklahoma state line building all the way back towards I-40 west of OKC. That's going to continue diving east-southeast. So we're about 200 miles away, meaning the bulk of this likely moves in well after midnight tonight. We'll track that second round. This is what it very well could look like closer to 2 o'clock this morning. Still on the strong side. All those purples there, that's the potential for a little bit of hail. Crisp leading edge up front of that line, which indicates we'll probably see some damaging winds. 75 to 80 mile per hour is the ceiling. Not to say everyone sees that, but that would be the maximum should a storm reach its fullest potential. Let's hope it doesn't, but it is a real possibility. This is what radar could look like around 3 o'clock this morning. A lot of that activity north of I-40. Certainly some of it will extend further south with time. Continuing to weaken once we get closer and closer to sunrise. 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, out that front door, early risers. Yeah, very well could be wet out there. Some of these heavy rain showers, even the thunderstorm potential will continue through the first part of the day. By 8 o'clock, it's becoming a bit more scattered in nature, and we'll have to watch for that second potential again tomorrow afternoon. Overall, tonight's hazards look like this. We'll start on the left side of your television screen. That's where we got the tornado potential. Likely confined north of I-40. It's low, right? Gets higher the further north and west you go. In fact, northwestern Benton County in the elevated category. Hail and wind are the most likely hazards, and you can see wind is a little bit higher in probability than the hail risk. Now, tomorrow, if things shake out accordingly, and there's a lot to see, it's going to be a situation where we just have to see how the dominoes fall tonight. That could set us up for a potential round again tomorrow, depending on how much storm fuel is left, depending on where those outflow boundaries set up. A lot of different factors going to tomorrow's forecast. With what we know right now, despite those question marks that still haven't been answered, level 2 out of 5 risk for all of the viewing area. Hail and wind would be the primary concern again for tomorrow. This is around 10:30, 11 o'clock. You got some of those showers moving through the area. Stronger winds look to be south of I-40. Those clear the area. Expect a bit of a lull, maybe not entirely dry midday, but a bit of a lull. And then we'll watch for the afternoon potential for a couple of those pop-up thunderstorms out there. I wish I could say we were done then, but we're not. There's a third round of mostly just rain, maybe some strong thunderstorms out there, likely after midnight going into early Thursday morning. This is a bit more scattered and likely less impressive, but certainly warrants being watched. Most of that pushing south of I-40 going into Thursday morning. Before sunrise, we should be drying out, and by Thursday afternoon, sunshine returns to the area. Between now and then, probably going to pick up a decent amount of rain. Flash flood watch in effect for all of northwest Arkansas, all of northeastern Oklahoma. How much, do you ask? Well, 1 to 2 inches is going to be common for many of us between now and, let's say, Thursday morning when all this starts to wrap up. Certainly, there could be some isolated amounts higher than that, depending on where we get those strongest thunderstorms to set up. And if there's any training over and over and over, of course, you know the drill. We'll probably get a little bit more. But broadly speaking, the closer to the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line you go, a little bit more rainfall you're going to get. The further east you go as those storms weaken, probably going to end up getting a little bit less in the way of rainfall. If your yard's like mine, it's just soaking wet, but it needs mowed. So I just mowed Wednesday, and I got to mow again. Tomorrow's not going to be a good day. It's going to be wet. Ground's going to be wet, probably continuing through Thursday, depending on how good your drainage is. But I'll tell you, Friday, Saturday, even Sunday, if you're looking for a reason to procrastinate, I'll give you one. Probably going to be a little bit better out there. 10-day forecast shakes out like this, down into the low 70s overnight tonight, back in the low 80s tomorrow. Well, Well, yeah, that's somewhat cool. It's going to be muggy out there. And of course, we'll be dodging those showers and thunderstorms throughout the day. Thursday, clouds begin to break, temperatures rebounding into the low 90s, and they stay there likely well into the weekend. A nice, albeit warm and humid weekend on tap. Looking ahead to next week, yeah, chances of rain back in the forecast, but for the most part, next week, what we're looking at, it's not any organized weather systems. It's those classic summertime afternoon pop-ups. You know, we go that pattern when we get 20% chance here and there for several consecutive weeks. They fizzle out once the sun sets. That's kind of what we're looking at next week. In the River Valley, we'll have a 70% chance of rain and storms tomorrow. Because of that redevelopment going into early Thursday morning, we'll carry over a slight chance in the forecast then, but I certainly think by sunrise, definitely by midday Thursday, we should be drying out, sunshine starting to return, and that thermometer warming up into the mid-90s going into the weekend. Heat index values for several consecutive days. That's the next big story, likely in the triple digits.